first glance, the decision seems clear. The Oppo Find N2 Flip is newer, has a bigger cover screen, so it's better than the older Samsung Z Flip 4, right? You'd be surprised. Goedendag, we're DHRME. These hot reviewers make effort. We've got a lot to cover, so starting with...
So you see the screen? Well, normally we'd give Oppo 1 whole point just for having a bigger screen and move on. But we're not gonna do that. The best part of the front screen is that Oppo's camera preview is exactly like the final video or photo, whereas on Samsung, you see a landscape preview for what will be a portrait shot. But that's kind of where the good stuff ends for Oppo. Their cover screen is severely limited by their own software. You can only choose from 5 preset widgets: camera, weather, events, timers, and earbud configuration, and that is just a missed opportunity.
Now, there's a third-party app called Cover Screen OS that lets you run apps on the Oppo cover screen. An app like this is much more useful on Oppo's bigger cover screen. There's a similar app called Cover Launcher available for the Samsung too. But here's the thing, this is not an official Oppo app and it's not a free app. So no points for Oppo on this. But reading your notifications is way better on the Oppo screen. You can actually see contents of your mail as well as messages. So fine, we give a half point back.
Now what about the main screen? Well, Oppo's pre-installed screen protector looks so much neater around the edges and also doesn't cause rainbowing when using it with polarized sunglasses and specialized ND filters on our cameras. This may not be a big deal for many, but it is for us, so we give Oppo another point.
Now, we're an audio channel, so we gotta talk audio and codecs. Samsung prioritizes its own ecosystem and gives you the Samsung Scalable Codec, in addition to SBC, AAC, LDAC, and aptX. But the Oppo goes half a step further by supporting LHDC as well as aptX HD, so half a point to the Oppo here.
But guys, when you buy a flipping flip phone, you may want to just place the phone next to you on your desk as a little baby laptop. Well, you're not gonna get that opportunity with the Oppo. Quite the opposite. The Oppo has a much smaller usable angle of folding before it either flips open or flip shut. This might not seem like a big deal, but trust us, if you're gonna watch content or use the split screen mode, it absolutely is. Kind of the whole point of this form factor. 1 point to Sammy.
Since these are flip phones, let's talk about that flipping action. The Oppo has actually decreased its screen. The crease in daily use is barely visible, whereas the Samsung has a literal gutter that you may or may not enjoy feeling. In fact, if someone saw the Oppo while it was flipped open, they would probably think it was a regular phone, till you flipped it shut and went on a date with them, because flip phones make you that attractive to potential mates. The Samsung, on the other hand, doesn't even close flat, leaving you to mind your own gap. 1 point to Oppo.
Oppo's gonna charge ahead with the lead now. It's got, you guessed it, a charger in the box. Not just any charger either, a 67-watt charger in the box. The fact that it actually is more than a standard brick gives the Oppo a half point extra.
And Oppo tries to give you extras, extra bloatware like a random game and weird apps that it wants to pre-install. I mean, sure, Samsung also stuffs your phone with Facebook, but Oppo has that covered too. So we'll give Samsung half a point.
We're also going to give Samsung another point because the Z Flip 4 supports wireless charging and the Find N2 Flip does not. Not much to explain here, but at this price, this is a bell whistle we expect to find.
What we did not expect to find is double the base storage, a very pleasant surprise from Oppo. Especially if you're gaming or shooting a lot of video, the 256 gigs comes in clutch.
Speaking of video, if you want to use the cover screen to shoot 4K video, for some reason the Oppo forces the video resolution back down to 1080p, even though the camera can normally shoot 4K. Stupid. Delete half a point.
And another 4K miss, the Oppo can't shoot 4K on its wide-angle camera, whereas the Samsung can. So that's another half point gone from the Oppo. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, who is...
you. So we are very wary about being sponsored by brands that we review, so it's your contributions, especially as YouTube members or patrons, or clicking in the links in the description or buying cool merch like this, that really helps support this channel and keep it going. So thanks guys for helping us make more free content like this for you guys.
Back to the phones. Again, we do a lot of audio content on this channel, so we prefer the speakers as well as the microphones on the Samsung Z Flip 4. But you can judge the microphones for yourself.
Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, ice, icicle. Test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. The main screen on the Oppo also hits a higher peak brightness, but in everything but the brightest light, this difference is not exactly perceptible. And of course, that main screen is ever so slightly bigger. So yeah, let's give it another half point, shall we?
But we're gonna straight up deduct 1 point from the Oppo for durability. Not only is the cover screen glass Gorilla Glass 5 against Samsung's Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, but the entire phone has no IP rating against dust or water. Although Samsung's phone can feel delicate at times, it's pretty solid. Check out the drop it survived on concrete. Plus, it has a solid IPX8 rating against water. Against dust though, you're on your own with both of these phones.
Now, we're fans of little touches and the fact that Oppo gives you a protective case in the box. Saved us a few bucks. Yes, we bought these phones with our own money. So give us a thumbs up and we'll give Oppo half a point for that.
Now, funnily enough, Oppo has the bigger battery, but we didn't really feel that translated to significantly better battery life. Samsung's battery life was also very good for our use. Still staying on battery, the Oppo also lets you charge the phone at a much faster 44 watts as against the 27 watts of the Samsung. So overall, it does deserve a point.
But hey, Oppo is going to go down swinging here. It released the Find N2 Flip at a cheaper price than the Samsung. But last we checked, the Galaxy Z Flip 4 is way cheaper where we live. So we were going to give this to the Oppo, but yeah, right now the Samsung gets that +1.
Before we go into the camera, we gotta say that the way to launch the camera on the Samsung is way better. A double tap on the power button from anywhere, locked or unlocked. So that's a quarter of a point to Samsung.
I expected the Hasselblad colors to be just another gimmick on the Oppo, but I must admit that the Oppo time after time got the color representation closer to real life. We're talking about photos for now. The Oppo did tend to ever so slightly oversaturate, but the Samsung colors were also a bit off and tended to be cooler generally. And we generally preferred the Oppo. But here's the deal. The colors on video, especially on faces, were far less consistent on the Oppo. Faces always seem to be janky with almost like exposure hunting with or without their AI mode on. So overall, the colors are kind of a tie. And maybe Samsung gets the edge for consistency, but no points here.
And we thought that video in general, including stabilization, was better on the Samsung. Half a pint. Pint? I need a pint.
The selfie cam on the Oppo produced better results. So let's give it half a point because even though you can use the back camera as a selfie camera on both these phones, you don't do that for video calls and the like.
In low light, for us, Oppo was the winner. But again, the difference was not, pardon the pun, day and night. Another half point.
The wide-angle lens on the Samsung is clearly wider than that of the Oppo, enabling you to get more in the frame standing at the same place. So another half point to Samsung for that. Alright, let's blow up that score. We've compared the phones, but what about the companies, guys? Samsung versus Oppo. You know what? We're not going to do that because you guys already did. We asked you which company you trusted more, and here are the results.
You've been watching your review in our review.
And we've been DHRME.
Namaste.